And good morning, and welcome to our UU Holton Sunday Service online edition from the Unitarian Parlor in Holton, Maine. No matter where you are today, we hope you're fine and in good spirits. Although we do not share the same space and are spread miles apart, we endeavor to find ways to maintain spiritual connection, offer support and encouragement, and make the best of COVID-created challenges each of us face in our everyday lives. We are still together, even when physically apart. We're so glad that you joined us today. Well, it's great to have Brad Hutchinson here today as our musician. Brad is one of our regulars from the Holton Coffee House and has provided service music on occasion. Today is one of those occasions. Hey Brad, good to have you here.
Thanks.
For our moment of centering silence this morning, we pause, taking a break from our busy lives. We rest in this present moment. We are awake. We are alert. We are alive. We light the chalice this morning for the first days of October. As leaves are turning color, may we too move with the season, the colors of our living visible, and a blessing to all. Opening words this morning are by poet Mary Oliver from her book, Why I Wake Early. Hello, sun in my face. Hello, you who make the morning and spread it over the fields and into the faces of tulips and the nodding morning glories, and into the windows of even the miserable and the crotchety. Best preacher that ever was, dear star, that just happens to be where you are in the universe to keep us from ever darkness, to ease us with warm touching, to hold us in the great hands of light. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Watch now how I start my day in happiness, in kindness. As is our custom at UU Holton, let us light candles, real and virtual, for the joys and concerns in our lives. First, a candle of much appreciation for the needed rain. Rivers and ponds have been low, and even the Holton Water Company issued a water advisory a couple of days ago. So conserve water, and it's our life force. And lighting a candle in recognition of the lives lost during the coronavirus pandemic. 1 million lives worldwide, over 200,000 in the United States, and 100,000 in India. And lighting a candle for our President and the First Lady, who recently contracted COVID-19 this week. And there are others in our country who are struggling with changes and challenges of this pandemic season. And lighting a silent candle for those people who are on your heart this morning, and the concerns that you carry. And we'll take just a moment to reflect, add some names that you want to pray for this week, that you're following, prayers for our world, for our nation, for our community. And I'll say a prayer in just a moment. The joy or the sorrow of one is shared by us all. Let us carry each thought or concern expressed in our heart, and may the light of love and compassion transform suffering into non-suffering and ease the difficulties of life. We radiate love and the light that we are. Amen, and blessed be. Our special music for today is Eyes of the World.
Got walls of the world. Because you find out that you are the eyes of the world. The heart as his beaches is only thoughts of his own. When now discover that you are the soul in the morning rain. The heart as his sister lives in its song of his own.
Great song, Brad. You got the camera man and I dancing back there. A couple of quotes to get us started. Swiss-born English philosopher Alain de Botton, founder and chairman of the School of Life, says, "Anyone who isn't embarrassed of who they were last year probably isn't learning enough. You have to keep working at it." A quote from Martin Luther King Jr. "One of the greatest liabilities of history is that all too many people fail to remain awake through great periods of social change. Today, our very survival depends on our ability to stay awake, to adjust to new ideas, to remain vigilant, and to face the challenge of change." And a quote by Robin Sharma, a Canadian writer and author of "The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari" and "The Leader Who Had No Job Title." "Change is hardest at the beginning, messiest in the middle, and the best at the end." So this is part 3 of our 4-part series on adapting to a changing world. In review, here are our 4 points to the topic. 1, expect change. 2, accept change. 3, adjust to change. And 4, improve with change. Point 1 was expect change, or do not expect change not to happen. Change happens. And point 2 was to accept change. And accept change probably doesn't state the case strongly enough. Embrace change is closer to the point. If change is going to happen, don't try to stop it. Accept it for what it is. Take a close look at what's going on, at what's changing, and make sure you are accurately assessing it and seeing it for what it is. Do this before you do anything. So first is don't do anything. Just look closely. Then you do something. And that's what today's topic is about, doing something or adjusting to change. So we have another PowerPoint today. And here's our title slide, Look Out for Change Ahead. We have 3 subpoints today under Adjust to Change. And subpoint number 1 is do something creatively. In this Gary Larson Far Side cartoon, car stops to ask a farmer directions. And you see two signs. One says point B, and the sign in the distance says point A. And the cartoon says, well, let me think. You stumped me, son. Most folks only want to know how to go the other way. Most people only want to know how to get from point A to point B. But when you approach change creatively, why not go from point B to point A? There is always more than one way to do something, even if you have to take a U-turn, even if you have to turn around or ask questions. And we all have lots of questions these days. There is nothing wrong with creatively looking at all your many options. In the end, you have to do something. Out of stillness or clear assessment, you start to move your many arms of possibility. And as Lemony Snicket once said, when things don't go right, go left. That is doing something creatively. I remember walking into Tai Chi class one night. This was one of our first classes with Jerry Levine at Laughing Dragon. And Jerry had posted little signs all over the studio that said, don't forget to pivot. They were on every wall, so no matter what direction you were facing, you would see one of these signs. This was one of the most basic and most important principles in our early Tai Chi practice, so Jerry wanted to make sure that we got it. Maybe he went a little overboard, but we did get it. He even had them stuck on the ceiling. When you change direction or transition to a new move in the Tai Chi form, it often involves a pivot, which is a new student sometimes forgets to do. This pivot is what keeps the form stable and flowing as it moves along. Without the pivot, and being aware of the pivot, you can quickly get lost or out of position as change occurs. Don't forget to pivot. Pivot is a term we've heard a lot lately during the COVID-19 pandemic, as businesses, organizations, and individuals have been forced to shift and adapt to new models that work more creatively in the changing landscape. Pivot once, pivot twice, pivot as many times as it takes to regain your balance and then move forward. Pivot, innovate, make adjustments. These are all part of doing something creatively. Subpoint number 2, do something positive. And this is such a key point. No matter what you do it with positive intent. Do not contaminate your efforts with any trace of negativity. The means to an end are just as important as the end itself. Anxiety, fear, anger, disrespect, incivility, violence, or retaliation are all counterproductive to the cause and the work that is to be done. Even if you have to speak hard words, truth to power, do so in love and compassion, not creating distance between you and the opposition, but building a connection between the two, where the opposition, or us versus them, instead becomes all of us trying to work this out together to mutual benefit. Do something positive. In the words of Mary Oliver that we shared earlier today, she says, watch now how I start each of my days in happiness, in kindness. And subpoint number 3, do something enthusiastically. I don't think any of us go out of our way looking for change. Usually change finds us. And change itself usually requires change. And that's a whole lot of extra work for each of us. But when change happens, and it will, we need to accept it, embrace it, and then do the creative and innovative hard work required to move forward to the new place we're heading. Being positive and being enthusiastic about the possibilities seems to me the best way to go. Attitude is one of our key assets. Why not tackle the challenges ahead of us with enthusiasm? Pragmatic, cautious, and realistic enthusiasm, but enthusiastic nonetheless. We don't know what lies ahead of us, but we know even that will change. All we have to do is just one change at a time. Be creative, be positive, be enthusiastic. So in closing, a reading by Swami Satchidananda. We are probably not going to change the whole world, but we can change ourselves and feel free as birds. We can be serene even in the midst of calamities, and by our serenity, make others more tranquil. Everything is contagious. If we smile at someone, he or she will usually smile back. And a smile costs nothing at all. We should plague everyone with our joy. If we are to die in a minute, tragic as that might be, why not die happily, laughing, and smiling all the way? And now as we extinguish the chalice, we take with us the light of love and compassion. Spending time together is always time well spent, even if it's online. And now, as we depart, may we take the spirit of our connections with us no matter where we go. Peace and love follow you each day. So I want to thank all of you for joining us for today's UU Houghton Sunday service. Like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Practice kindness, keep your attitude positive, and look out for those having a difficult time. Have a good week, everyone. And I want to thank our cameraman, Ben Carmichael, today for handling the technical end of things for today's service. And again, thank Brad for being here and bringing his guitar and pedal. We'll probably see you again sometime. Yeah. So Brad has one more number to take us out today.
Driving down the Soul-Picker Road, I am lost in my mind. I see the day early morning, sunshine. Tell me all that I need to know. See the river just ahead. The bridge, it seems just fine. simple life. Life I lost long ago, and I know it'll turn out right. I'll find what I'm searching for, the simple life I live.